Hello Isopod fans, this is Wally with Supreme Isopods. Everybody wants free foods. I'm going to show you today how we get free Isopod food. Not just one type, but two types. I've done a previous video on free foods, but this one's going to show how we prepare it and give you some tips and techniques on that regard. And I'm going to introduce another free food that we use for our Isopods. This is going to be a different video. It's going to be a fun video. Stay tuned. Do you remember a video we did about a year and a half ago on mushrooms? We had a great friend, Angie Schwartz, go out to the woods, collect some mushrooms for us, bring them back, and I showed you how we use those mushrooms in Isopod enclosures. Well, today I'm going to show you how we prepare these mushrooms. And don't you dare click away from this video because I'm going to present some fun facts on Angie that you are not going to believe. And in a little bit, I'm going to share the second food, the free food that we feed our Isopods. So let's take a look at Angie collecting in the wild.
Alright guys, I know some had asked about taking a video for mushroom hunting. And this is basically the same for when you want to get some old rotted wood. Just areas like this. You know, basically what you do is you're going to look at fallen trees for the mushrooms. You know, something like this. This would actually also be good for the decaying wood. And it's covered in mushrooms. Would you look at that? So I'm not sure if I'm going to pick those or not because they're pretty little, but so yeah.
I hope you enjoyed those facts. I have plenty more on Angie coming up in just a moment. We have some more video of her collecting mushrooms in the wild and more facts. And I'm going to talk about that second food that we feed these Isopods. But let's talk about mushrooms. Angie will collect mushrooms in the wild, bring them over in a bucket. We dump them into our garage into another bucket, and I let those mushrooms sit, not stacked on top of each other, but I spread them out, and I let them sit on our workbench for probably like a month or so, just letting them air dry. Now, I've tried to put them in the oven and cook them at a low temperature to try to dry them out. That doesn't seem to work for us. Checking on the mushrooms, they can be dry or they can be too dry. If they're too dry, they still work. So these are too dry, and I'm just going to crunch them up a little bit here, and I break them off into smaller pieces that we can put into individual Isopod bins. It works really good. These are perfect for the Isopods. Now, if I get a huge piece like this is a mushroom that you can tell is bone dry, completely dried out. I'll grab a hammer, take it out to the sidewalk, bang it a couple of times, and it'll break off into smaller pieces that we can use in the Isopod bins. To do this whole bin of hard mushrooms will probably take me 10 minutes, and that's it. And that'll give me enough mushrooms to probably feed for months and months. Then we have the softer mushrooms. Now, this isn't how they come out of the wild. This is, or after they've been collected, this is after it's been sitting for several weeks. It just hasn't gotten rock hard like these other mushrooms. I'm going to show you how to prepare these mushrooms in just a moment. Let's watch another clip of Angie and see some more facts about her. We're going to show more of Angie in the woods in just a moment. I showed you how I treat or prepare the hard mushrooms. Now I'm going to show you how we prepare the soft mushrooms. So if the mushrooms don't harden up like this, what I do is I take a pair of scissors, then that gives me the round tips because I can't handle the sharp tips. And I take the mushroom and I simply cut it off like that. It's that easy. So I tried to make some bigger pieces and some smaller pieces. It's really this easy. And if some of the pieces are a little bit too big, I just cut them in half. So I get a pan and I sit down in front of the TV and I do this for 10 or 15 minutes. It's that easy. So let's go ahead and check out how Angie's doing in the woods while I prepare this soft mushroom.
Okay, so still in the same woods. I know these woods like the back of my hand, so I usually go to the same tree because mushrooms usually grow on the same tree. But we have a slight issue. See the mushrooms on top? And then see that lighter color towards the bottom of the tree? That's where they used to be. So now they're way up in this tree and I cannot get them, and they're way, I don't know if you can see that or not. Look at that. So Wally is out of luck when it comes down to that. So I'm just gonna keep on walking, and hopefully all my trees aren't like that where they're way up on top.
Here I am working my tail off on these mushrooms while Angie is taking a stroll in the woods. Is that fair? I don't think that that's fair. So how about those facts on Angie? Can you believe some of those things? So I promised a second food that we feed our isopods, and the reason that I'm sitting in front of our fish tanks is because this food comes from our fish tanks. I get hair algae like crazy. I get duckweed, I get Java moss, all kinds of things grow because I have too much light on these fish tanks. And I really need to take some of that lighting off. But for now, it makes a lot of plants. And I take the plants out and I put them in a bucket and I leave them for about a month and they dry up into this clump of algae and fish plants. So why am I saving these fish plants, these dried fish plants? Well, that's because this is pretty much spirulina that a lot of foods has in it for isopods. Spirulina is a great food for all kinds of animals, and especially isopods. We're going to take this dried up fish plant mass here and we're going to cut it up into manageable pieces and feed our isopods. And while I do that, let's check back in on Angie to see how she's doing in the woods.
All right, guys, this is the biggest one I found. I didn't do a video when I came upon this because there were people and I didn't want to look crazy. But this is what you want. This thing is meaty. I mean, it's nice. It's huge. Very big. So this was found on a really old tree, and it was on the side of the trunk, and it was a standing tree. So it's just, you just gotta look, but it's a good haul. It's a good one. So gotta hurry up and give these to Wally. So I hope these videos helped you a little bit. Bye.
Well, that was really interesting about Angie, all those facts, probably more information that you would ever want to know about Angie. So we've talked about mushrooms, we've talked about algae, fish plants, great foods for your isopods. So do like Angie's doing and take a stroll in the woods. Spring and fall are perfect times to find mushrooms and try them in your isopod enclosures. And if you don't have fish tanks like I do, just make a run over to your local pet store. Ask them to save their excess fish plants for you to bring home, dry out, cut up for your isopods. I hope this helps. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next video.